lainnya. Contohnya, menjadi anggota kepanitiaan di acara tahunan BEM FBA Unmas Denpasar yang biasa disebut dengan mantra, turut serta dalam kepanitiaan pemilihan jilid bagus Unmas, dan masih banyak lagi acara-acara lain yang ada di tingkat fakultas dan universitas yang dapat diikuti. Lalu, apa sih keuntungannya mengikuti program-program tadi? Apalagi dong kalau bukan untuk memupuk jiwa berorganisasi, memacu motivasi kita sebagai mahasiswa yang aktif dalam masyarakat, dan untuk menjadi generasi muda yang terus berkarya.
Hai semua.
Hai.
Gimana kabar kalian?
Baik.
Semuanya baik ya. Jadi teman-teman boleh dong share pengalaman kalian selama bergabung di HMPS. Siapa nih yang mau nge-sharing? Oke, dari Kumas ya, Dea.
Mulai dari dapat relasi dan kenal banyak teman, nambah pengalaman juga karena program kerja yang ada di HMPS itu buat kita semua jadi nambah wawasan dan pastinya semuanya keren-keren.
Thank you, Dea.
Kalau menurut saya pribadi sih, saat join di HMPS itu banyak sekali pengalaman yang seru dan menyenangkan. Mendapatkan teman-teman baru, menambahkan wawasan, dan bangun relasi baru. Pokoknya seru deh. Dan harus join pokoknya.
Di sini aku mau sharing sedikit pengalaman aku selama bergabung di HMPS. Pengalaman aku selama menjadi anggota HMPS di masa pandemi ini nggak kalah seru. Kami menggunakan waktu di masa pandemi ini dengan menyusun program kerja tahunan HMPS, dan juga kami berperan aktif di dalam media sosial untuk memberikan informasi mengenai seputaran kampus dan juga tentunya event penting yang berhubungan dengan HMPS Sastra Inggris.
Okay, let's join us and be the part of this organization. HMPS Sasing.
Nah, gimana teman-teman tentang HMPS Sasing dan programnya? Ayo, jangan menunda-nunda kesempatan dan daftar sekarang juga. Buruan cek Instagram HMPS Sasing ya. Follow di HMPS Sasing FBA_Unmas.
Hai, kami Himpunan Mahasiswa Program Studi Sastra Inggris atau dikenal dengan HMPS Sasing. Organisasi di bawah naungan Program Studi Sastra Inggris Fakultas Bahasa Asing Unmas Denpasar. Kami adalah representasi mahasiswa-mahasiswi Program Studi Sastra Inggris. Dan inilah himpunan kami. HMPS Sasing berperan sebagai wadah dan ruang untuk berbagi, menyampaikan berbagai ide maupun kreativitas demi memajukan internal organisasi dan fakultas tercinta. Nah, kalau ditanya soal apa program kami, bentar ya, kita kenalan dulu. HMPS Sasing setiap tahunnya tentu berganti kepengurusan. Tahun ini adalah periode kami, yakni 2020-2021. Periode yang sedikit berbeda dari sebelumnya karena ada di tengah pandemi COVID-19. Tentunya di HMPS Sasing kami memiliki struktur kepengurusan. Ada pengurus inti, ada koordinator departemen, dan tentunya anggota kami yang luar biasa.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Studium General 2022, Explore Yourself, Build Your Skill, and Let's Speak is about to start. Om Swastiastu. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Shalom Namo Buddhaya. Good morning and best wishes to all the best. The Honorable Dean of the Faculty of Foreign Languages, Maha Saraswati Denpasar University, Mr. Ekomang Sulatra SSM Hum, that represented by Ms. Dr. Desa Putu Eka Pratiwi SSM Hum. The Honorable the Second Vice Dean, Ms. Komang Dian Puspita Chandra SSM Hum. Respectable Head and Secretary of English Study Program, Mr. Igusti Bagus Wahyu Nugraha Putra SSM Hum, and Ms. Putu Devi Maharani SSM Hum. And also what I respect, our speaker, Dr. Nicolene Ducres, Chairman of Student Association of English Department, all of the committee, and also all of the outstanding participants of the Studium General. Welcome to the Studium General 2022, held by Student Association of English Department, Faculty of Foreign Languages, Maha Saraswati Denpasar University, today, 22nd of February 2022. It is a great honor for me. My name is Ita Febri, as your moderator of this event today. And I'm very pleased to see you here and welcome all of you to the Studium General. And I hope we all in a good condition, even though it's still in the COVID-19 pandemic. Just to know, the Student Association of English Department is the organization under the English Department, so the members come from active students of the English study program. And Studium General is one of the regular events of this organization. Ladies and gentlemen, and all of the participants, the agenda of this event today will begin with prayer. We pray according to our respective religions and beliefs. Prayer begin. Done. Thank you. The next agenda is speech from the chairman of the Committee of Studium General 2022, Karisma Yulia. For the chairman of the committee, time's yours.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, thank you for the opportunity that has given to me. Well, thank you to each and every one of you for being here today at this meeting. My name is Karisma. It is such an honor for me to speak on behalf of the organizer. Let me begin by giving you a warm welcome to Studium General. Explore yourself, build your skill, and let's speak. The Honorable the Dean of the Faculty of Foreign Languages, that presented by the first Vice Dean of the Faculty of Foreign Language, and the Honorable is the second Vice Dean of the Faculty of Foreign Languages, and the Honorable, the head of the English Study Program and the Secretary of the English Study Program, as well as the guest speaker, Ms. Nicolene Ducres. Om Swastiastu. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Before we get started, I would like to express my appreciation to all the committee who has helped launch, and all participants and invite who have attended today's webinar. Well, first, I want to explain a brief description of the public speaking Studium General activities. This is to discuss personal branding and public speaking technique. This activity was held with the main objective that participants who take part in this activity can find their own characteristics, be able to build a brand in themselves, build self-confidence, and dare to speak in public speaking. And then the purpose of activity, the objective of implementing the Studium General activities, there are. The first one, improve and develop ideas and creativity of students, especially members of the Student Association of English Department, Faculty of Foreign Languages, Maha Saraswati Denpasar University. And the second one, adding experience for members of the Student Association of English Department, Faculty of Foreign Languages, Maha Saraswati Denpasar University. And number third is provide insight and knowledge regarding the importance of the ability to speak in public to students of the Faculty of Foreign Languages, Mahasiswa Denpasar University. And the last one, strengthening solidarity with the member of the Student Association of English Department, Faculty of Foreign Languages, Mahasiswa Denpasar University. And then the benefits of this activity. Some of the benefits to be obtained through organizing the Studium General, there are the first, can gain experience and soft skill training. And the second one, get the opportunity to socialize and develop ideas and creativity that will be useful for the entire committee of the Studium General activity, where the committee is a member of the Student Association of English Department, Mahasiswa Denpasar University, as well as gaining insight into public speaking or the ability to speak in public, and get supplies on public speaking, which will certainly be useful in the future, and get the motivation to be brave to be a good public speaker. Well, ladies and gentlemen, and the last one, I hope the Studium General activity is going well, and we will all get knowledge that can be applied. Well, I don't want to take too much of your time. I need to hand over it to Ita Febri, our today's moderator, to introduce our guest speaker to all of you, and we'll get all of you in today's webinar. I would like to say once more on behalf of the Studium General organizer, welcome. It is great to see so many of you here. Thank you for your attention. Om Santi Santi Santi. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you for the chairman of the committee, the Studium General 2022, for a really nice speech. Ladies and gentlemen, now we jump to the next agenda. We invite the Dean of the Faculty of Foreign Languages to deliver a speech, and in this occasion, we'll be represented by the first Vice Dean, Ms. Dr. Desa Putu Eka Pratiwi, SS Umum. Time is yours.
Om Swastiastu. Good morning, the Honorable Vice Dean of Faculty of Foreign Languages, the Head of English Study Program, and the Secretary. And of course, good morning, the Honorable Invited Speaker, Ibu Nicolin. Good morning, Om Swastiastu. Nice to meet you again, and thank you for accepting our invitation to give talk in our first Studium General this year with the topic Explore Yourself, Build Your Skill, and Let's Speak, which is held by English Study Program. And for your information, the Studium General is one of our annual academic events, which organized by English Study Program, Students Organization, HMPS Sastra Inggris, and it aims to develop the students' English skills and to raise their self-confidence in speaking English. And we do believe that Ibu Nicolin, with all of her educational background, can give contributions, insight, and ideas for our students in enriching their English skills. And Ibu Nicolin is the co-founder of Open Flow Learning Center, which was the faculty's partner in this case for internship program. And for ladies and gentlemen, all of the participants in this Zoom meeting, let me tell you that currently there are 7 students of Faculty of Foreign Languages do internship program in Open Learning. And we do hope that this program can be done continuously and support our students to develop their hard skill and also soft skills. And the Studium General is also one of our strategy to develop the students' English skill. And in this occasion, we hope Ibu Nicolin can give more knowledge and also insight for our students and motivate them to speak more confidently in English. And in this occasion, I would like to thank to all of the committee, especially HMPS Sastra Inggris, for working very hard in organizing this event. Thank you very much. You did a good job. And dear all of the participants, all of the students of English Study Program, Faculty of Foreign Languages, thank you for joining this program, and please be focused. Yeah, please be focused and listen carefully to Ibu Nicolene so that you can got all the points which delivered by our invited speaker. And hopefully, by attending this Stadium General, you all guys can develop your English skills and be able to speak English more confidently. So I think that's all from me, and I do apologize that the Dean of Faculty of Foreign Languages cannot attend this event. And in this occasion, I open officially the Stadium General, and I hope you all guys can enjoy the Stadium General. Thank you very much. Om Santi, Santi, Santi Om.
Thank you very much for the first Vice Dean of the Faculty of Foreign Languages for such interesting speech, and thank you for being with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to ask you a question. Do you think public speaking is important? If it's yes, I do agree with you, because it allows us to build connections, influence yourself and also the world around us. Developing leadership skill and also motivate change. Without communication or public speaking skills, the ability to progress in life would be nearly impossible, right? To all of the audience and with me, Ita, we will meet for around 2 hours. And the Studium General today present the theme, Explore Yourself, Build Your Skill, and Let's Speak. Before the presenting begins, let me inform you how the presentation will be going on. First is the presentation from the speaker. The second is the question and answer session. At last is conclusion. And for your information, you can also check this live streaming of Studium General on YouTube channel FBA TV. Ladies and gentlemen, let me inform you how the guides and also the rules of the Studium General. The first one, participants' ID in the Studium General must use a real name. Participants who access the Zoom meeting room must dress modestly and behave politely during the Studium General. Participants are requested not to activate the microphone feature while the speaker delivering the materials. Please turn on your camera during the Studium General, and the committee has the authority to regulate the accessibility and control configuration of mic, video, volume, and also chat of each participants in the Zoom meeting room. During the sharing session, moderator, me, will organize and read out several questions from the participants. And participants can deliver any question by typing the question on the live chat feature or by using the raise hand feature in the Zoom meeting. All of the participants have to fill the attendance list on the link that will be provided via live chat feature. And certificate will be given to the participants that follow the whole Studium General. So now we come to the main event. And in this special occasion, we will have the presentation from our special speaker. She is Dr. Nicolene Dupres. But before the presentation begins, allow me to introduce our speaker. She is a results-driven professional who understands that effective change leadership requires adaptability, initiative, and self-motivation, a wide range of 21st century skills. With both her PhD and master degree in psychology of education, her work deals with how to strategically support employees' belief systems. Currently, she is training educators on innovative practices alongside developing a groundbreaking environmental education research program. She has presented her work at various international conferences, such as the World Conference of Environment and Education. With her experience as an educational thought leader, she is looking for the next opportunity to drive educational programs and lead the innovative way forward in the world of education. So for all of the participants, you can pay a full of attention and follow the whole rules. And without further ado, I would like to invite Dr. Nicolene Dupres. Before that, I would like to say hello and send a warm greeting because we are in a different location now. Hello, Miss Nicolene. How are you today?
Good morning. Thank you for having me here this morning.
Yes, I really hope you are in a good condition right now. Thank you. So there are so many participants who are waiting for you already. And now allow me to give you a time for about 60 minutes to deliver your presentation. Time is yours.
Wonderful. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. I'm really happy to be here this morning and to share a little bit about public speaking, exploring yourself, and I hope that during this session you will build some skills. So the first thing that you need for this session is a pen and paper. You can even use your handphone to put down some notes because I'm going to walk you through 10 steps of becoming a better public speaker. So that's the first thing that you need to do. And I'm going to start sharing my screen now so that I can show you the presentation. Here we go. Okay, so in the chat, give me a thumbs up if you can hear my voice loud and clear. Stefano, I'm waiting to see your thumbs up. Diane, let's see a thumbs up in the chat if you can hear my voice loud and clear. Let's have a look. I would like to see some faces. Let's go into grid view. Oh, good job. Thank you. Thank you, Devi. I see there's some faces. So when you want to do public speaking, it's really, really important to get your audience engaged. So also give me a thumbs up if you can see the screen very well. And if there's no glitching or anything happening like that. Okay, so you don't have to unmute yourself. You only have to use the chat to give a thumbs up. So make sure that your microphone is on red. Make sure that your camera is on. And then we are ready to start. It's really, really wonderful seeing everybody's faces. So I'm going to start sharing today 10 tips for being an effective public speaker. Now, before I get into the talk, this is one of my colleagues, Pak Suta, and he is a science teacher at the Learning Center where I work. And I just want to read something here. And this is actually a message to each and every one of you. Our highest endeavor must be to develop free human beings who are able for themselves to impart purpose and direction in their lives. I also hope while you're listening to me today that you will feel that sense of freedom to develop yourself so that you can find a different direction in your life. And I think public speaking is most definitely one of the most amazing ways to share your stories with other people. Why do we need to do this? I'm sure many of you are sitting on this call thinking, oh, I'm one of 231 people here today. Why? Why should I improve my public speaking? Well, because we need more people with imagination and a sense of truth and a sense of feeling that they are responsible to share their stories. And this is actually the three forces at the very, very nerve, the very essence of education. I'm sure that when you are in a lecture with any of your lecturers, you're constantly hoping that they will bring you something on this day at the campus, or when you are with your friends, that will just blow your imagination and give you a sense and a feeling of, wow, there must be something more to life than just waking up in the morning, maybe watching some Korean drama, or just cooking some food, or just going to campus at night, or just hopping on a Zoom call. There has to be something more to life. And when you find that piece of purpose and you get to share that with other people, that is really remarkable. And that's really when you know you are truly, truly alive. So let's jump into this whole session about public speaking. Number one, know your material. What does that mean? Well, if you pick a subject that you are really, really interested in, and if you pick a subject that you are really passionate about, it will almost be unstoppable. You will be unstoppable. You will just be able to talk and share from a place of very authentic knowing. So for me personally, I love sharing about education. I love sharing about nature. I love sharing about different environments. I am totally in love with science. I really love to share my experiences as an educator, as a trainer, as a mother with other people. So I must make sure that I know a lot and that I'm constantly on the forefront of what's happening in education and what we are experimenting with, and also what the results are. So when you know more about what it is, you can include that in your speech. And then when you run out of time, you have some backup information. But also, there's been times that I've spoken very, very fast, and I would reach the end of my speech and I would realize, oh goodness, I still have some time left. But because it's something that I'm really passionate about when I speak, I'm able to use and include that extra information into my speech. Also, during Q&A sessions, it's really helpful when you know a lot about your topic. So my number one rule would be talk about things that you're really interested about and that what you know a lot about. And if you don't know a lot yet, research. Another tip, if you don't know a lot about a topic and you want to get better at that topic, is surround yourself with people. This is my team that I work with. And here at Open Flow, we are all like-minded individuals searching, questioning, inquiring, wanting to know more about education. So you can do your own quick audit in your own friendship circles or the conversations you've been having in your last week. And you can ask yourself, am I surrounding myself truly with people that can inspire me, that can stretch me? I know as a student, and especially with the rainy season coming up, it's kind of fun to just, snuggle up in bed and spend a lot of time on social media, or watch some movies, or just do something that maybe doesn't stress your brain out that much. But also audit that time. Ask yourself, can you be using your time more wisely? Can you choose the people that you hang out with more wisely? Okay. And I'm going slower here because I really want to pause at this, because this is really, really important. If you do take a whole day and you do look at the amount of time that you spend on social media, for example, you could have been using that time to build your knowledge and your passion about what it really is that interests you. So let's move on. Use a little bit of humor. I think when you are a public speaker, it's really, really important to get people energized and to get them excited. And there's many different ways to do that. You don't necessarily have to tell a joke. I'm terrible at telling jokes. One, I never remember the punchline. And two, I never know what to do when people don't laugh at my jokes. So there's different ways to bring in humor. Maybe if you're doing a public speaking event where you're using slides, you can include something funny like this cat picking through a piece of bread, or you can put on a funny video, or you can put on a funny hat, or you can do anything, but bring something humorous into your talk when you are giving a public speaking event. I heard that the moderator said public speaking will be really something that's necessary for the future. I really agree with that. But we don't need any more boring talks out there. We need people that are inspiring. We need people with passion. We need people that are there to truly, truly share stories that matter. So humor can be something that you can bring in. And if you don't think that you're really a funny person, find that one funny friend that you have in your circle and learn from them how to just be a bit more humorous in your presentations. Life doesn't have to be that serious. And of course, use personal stories. I want to jump to this slide. So personal stories, especially in my field of work, are really, really important. These are my two boys. The youngest is Caden and the eldest is Kentridge. And this was taken a year ago while we were doing a photo shoot in an abandoned building on the edge of a cliff, looking out over the ocean. And me and a few colleagues went and we did this shoot, and I took my boys with me, and just having them there and sharing my work with them is really, really, really epic. So I normally include a lot of stories, especially in education, that relates to Caden, or that relates to Kentridge, or that relates to the way that they learn or how they do things, but it's very dear to me, and I can speak from a place that nobody else can speak from. None of you in this audience, none of this 230 people on this call can speak about Kentridge and Caden and my journey in education like I can, right? So each one of you in this call have something absolutely amazing to share with the world, because each one of you have a unique story. So that's really important to remember. Now, something else that's really important is to speak in a conversational style. What does that mean? Imagine if you used your social media and you put up a story or you put up a video and you spoke like one of your lecturers, very formal, or the way that we started this meeting this morning in a very formal way. People will think, oh goodness, maybe I'm in the wrong place, or maybe I'm not sure what this message is going to be. Use conversational language. The way I'm speaking to all of you now, we're in a conversation. There is a time and a place for everything. And when you're doing public speaking, it is really the time to step into a conversation with people and to really share your story. If you know it, and if you live it, and if you feel it, share it. That's really, really important. And also it gives a lot of purpose to your own daily activities when you're able to take those stories and move them beyond only what you have, but just give it to other people. It's like a gift. Why? Why is it also important to have a conversational style? Because that also helps you to not forget what it is that you're going to say. A lot of the times, if you have to remember a speech, or if you have to read something, you might feel super nervous and you might feel, oh goodness, I don't really know. I don't really believe in what I'm saying at the moment. And you might forget the most important part of your session or of your message that you're giving to people. So tie that knot around your finger and just have a conversation, okay? It's actually not about you. It's about your message, but we'll get to that a little bit later. So number 2, here it comes: practice, practice, practice. That is super important. If you want to be better at public speaking, you need to practice. And there are many ways that you can practice public speaking. You don't necessarily have to be invited somewhere to speak. You don't necessarily have to speak at an event to become a good public speaker. There are actually many ways to grow your skill and to grow your confidence. And we'll also touch on that a little bit later. Practice with the equipment, especially now during the pandemic. It's very different. Public speaking is very, very different because all of a sudden the audience is very far away from you. The audience are not that tangible. The equipment that you will be using is very different. If you're using Zoom, or if you're using Google Meet, or if you're using breakout rooms, or whatever that might be, practice with the tools and the equipment that you're going to use. That will also give you a lot more confidence when you feel that you are in control and you're able to use the equipment to its fullest to support your message. So even if it is like moving a bucket full of water across a room with only using your feet, do that, okay? Move the water, move the bucket, move your speech along by practicing. That's really, really important. And again, share those stories, even the story of how you became a better public speaker. If you share that with only your community or your circle of friends, or maybe your organization, that's helpful. People learn from other people's experiences, right? You want to hear how somebody else did it. I'm sure all of you want to know, did the bucket, the red bucket on this photo tip, did everybody get wet? Were people able to move it? What were some of the challenges? So as intriguing as it is to move a bucket of water, as intriguing it is to share your stories, even if it is on how you became a better public speaker. It's really, really important. Now, something that I've really worked hard on and that I've really challenged myself, especially when I speak my home language, because my home language is not English. We actually speak a language called Afrikaans. I'm from South Africa, and when I speak in my home language, it's really hard to follow. And sometimes I get so excited that I go super, super fast. So if you really want to become a better public speaker, or just in general, pause. Just take time while you're sharing the message and pause. Feel what it feels like. If you're in front of an audience, you can read people's faces. You can maybe smile and they'll smile back at you. You can maybe frown and people will wonder, what are you frowning about? But pause. And during that pause, breathe. Just take a breath. It's almost like a full stop at the end of a sentence, okay? So pause and breathe and practice that. Because also people need to process your words. They need to process what it is that you're saying. And that's really, really important. So this is definitely a number one tip for me that I'm working on to become better at. Number 3, I hope you guys are still taking notes, because we've reached a very interesting part of the presentation. Number 3 is called know the audience. Now, there's 2 ways to know your audience. Number 1, I would have presented differently if this talk was to farmers today, or if this talk was to a group of school-going children, or if it was purely an academic speech. Know your audience, know who you're talking to. I know that the majority of you are students. You're in a really cool, fantastic time of your life. So you need some different tools and different strategies, and I will approach your presentation differently. And I'm going to give you a tip how. So I'm going to ask you to put something down in the chat, okay? Because I know you guys are really good at using chat features, and probably a lot of you have your cell phone either, or your hand phone either next to you, on your lap, or maybe positioned somewhere in front of you while you are listening to me. So in the chat, can you write down one thing? It can be a word, it can be 2 words, but I want you to write down something that you enjoy doing after work or after studying, something that you really, really enjoy doing. So let's quickly pause and see if I can have some activity on the chat happening. One thing that you like doing. Do you like fishing? Do you like swimming? What do you do in your spare time? So we have 227 participants. Let's see if we can get at least a few replies. Listening to music. Rasmi, I also love that. Watching movies. Indeed. I wonder what would your favorite movie be? Reading, baking, listening to music, cooking. Awesome. Playing music instruments, reading online comics, traveling. This is exciting. Tea time, me too. Watching, I wonder watching what? Reading, dancing, cooking, traveling, more listening to music and movies and sleeping. That's really, really interesting. I think that's really good for your body, but too much sleep might not be that good. Listening to music. Okay, so it already, just by reading the comments, overthinking. Well, that's also a really interesting one. Hiking, Korean drama. Okay, lying in bed. So I'm going to step away from the chat now. Please let it come in as you're going. I see from the chat tequila time. I wonder what that is. And I'm also wondering if that is necessary for you to manage your time. To have too much of a good thing might also not be that good for you. So I just want to see my screen is not clicking. But while I'm seeing everything coming in on the chat, knowing your audience, I would like Windu Pranada. I think I got it right. Windu Pranada, can you please unmute yourself and say hi to me? Windu Pranada. Or Prananda. I think I'm saying it right. Are you here? Let's check. Sutta Chandra, are you here? Would you like to unmute yourself and say hi? Sutta, are you here?
Yes.
Hey, morning. How are you?
I'm fine, good, thank you.
Cool. So where are you at the moment, Sutta?
I'm in the office bank. Still
in the office.
working.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's really nice to meet you, and I'm really happy to see you on this call. Thank you for unmuting yourself.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, Maria, Vidya, are you here, Maria? Maria, Vidya, can you unmute yourself and say hi? I really would like to say hi to you. Okay, well, maybe Maria is not here. So the three names that I chose, Sutta, thank you very much for being vulnerable and brave and for actually unmuting yourself. Because for me as a presenter, I really like to take risks. I really like to try something new. So I didn't know Windu or Sutta or Maria. I saw their names this morning on the call, and I thought, wow, I really, really would like to see who they are and just say hi to them, because it means so much to a presenter. And this is something that you will find for yourself when you're able to connect to somebody in the audience, and just to be able to say hi and make eye contact, because that really brings down the nerves and it makes you feel that you are at home. So let's go on to the next. And when you also see people before your talk, go up to people, say hi, how are you? Introduce yourself, maybe get a name, and just bring that nearness in your presentation. So here I'm sitting with kids from the Learning Center, and I can promise you, it's way easier speaking to them, speaking to a group of friends, than speaking to a group of strangers. Okay, so once you befriend your audience, once you become comfortable with your audience, it will be like speaking to your friends, and it won't be that foreign. So number 4, I hope you guys are taking notes and keeping on track, is know the room. Know the room where you're going to present. Otherwise, you might end up like this, stuck in the mud, sliding down a hill with your face flat on the ground. I can share multiple stories about presenting all over the world in many different times and stages of my life, where I wish I had this advice before I did more public speaking events. And there were many times that I've been stuck in the mud with not knowing where the room maybe is, or not knowing which equipment, or getting on stage and realizing that perhaps my voice doesn't sound that well on the microphone. Many different things that has happened over the course of my life. So when you are presenting in a room, know where all the things are, know where the bathroom is, take a walk in the room, familiarize yourself with just how it feels. Imagine how it would feel if it was filled up with people, even before you start talking. Again, it's very important for you to own the space where you are going to present, because your message, your story is really important. Okay? Walk around, imagine where you are, and practice using the mic and the visual aids. It's very different now using Zoom, but you can even imagine yourself how you would walk through your presentation, how you would sit, where the lighting will be from the room, where are you going to position yourself in the virtual space. So you can even apply this even though you're not in a physical space, but even in the online space. Think about the online space as an actual room, because it is. It's just a virtual room, but familiarize yourself with that. Number 5. Okay, we're halfway. And guess what? We're on 26 minutes, which means we're actually not doing that bad, because as a public speaker, it's also important to keep time and to make sure that you pace yourself. And of course, relax. Seriously, relax. It's not all that bad. It's actually super fun. Even for me, being here this morning with now 223 participants, it is really awesome. And I feel very relaxed, and I feel very excited to still share something that I'm super passionate about. So whenever you have the chance to speak to people, just do it and relax and have fun, because it is. And again, say hello to your audience in a friendly way. That will also help you relax. So I really thought about greeting, or how I would be greeting you guys this morning, and then I would save it to this part. So if I had to greet all of you again this morning, I would have said, good morning, everyone that is here, ready to change their own thinking and mindset today. That's how I really would have wanted to greet all of you this morning. I can't say hello, friends, yet, because I'm not sure if we're going to be friends yet. But if you are here to change your mindset, if you are here to change how you think about public speaking, I can call us friends. And I can say hello to all the like-minded students who are showing up and who are dedicating a very short amount of time in their life to learn something new, or to learn about something new. Why? If from the presenter's perspective, it buys you a little bit of time and it just calms down the nerves, but also it's bonding with your audience and saying, we're actually from the same tribe. This morning, we are from the same village. We are from the same bubble. We are from the same virtual space. And that's also really cool. And remember to smile. I really can catch myself sometimes being very serious and very deeply involved in what I'm talking about. But remind yourself, when you pause, when you breathe, you can smile at your audience. And before you say anything, just take that moment so that everybody can catch up. And even that little bit of suspense between your words, or between the topics that you are giving, really helps the audience to just stop and catch up with you. So that's a really important tip. Okay, we're moving on to number 6. And number 6 is actually really one of my favorite tips to use, and that's to visualize yourself giving the speech. See in your mind's eye, even if you close your eyes, what will it sound like? What do you want to sound like when you speak? Do you want to sound energetic? Do you want to sound motivational? Do you want to sound empathetic? How do you visualize yourself giving this speech? Hear your voice. Imagine what the people's faces will look like, right? Imagine how you will sit, how you will stand, what you're going to wear. Okay? Visualization is very key and important to give a good speech. It helps you to be more confident. Imagine that everybody on this call will be saying, "Oh, Ibu Nicolene, that was a good job. Thank you." Imagine that at the end. Because I'm gifting my words to each and every one of you here today. It is a gift. None of you have met me before. None of you might meet me again. But I can leave you with my words. I can leave you with a little bit of myself this morning. And that's really, really amazing. So when you visualize yourself doing that, that really helps as a public speaker. We're going to number 7. And this might be a tricky one when you are a public speaker, okay? Because there's something called the imposter syndrome. Maybe some of you have heard about that. And if you have a pen and paper with you, I really challenge you to write down this word, imposter syndrome, okay? Imposter syndrome. And that's when you are trying to deliver a message and a small little voice comes into your head. And that little voice tells you, hey, people don't want to actually listen to your message. Or that little voice tells you, actually, you don't know enough. Or the little voice tells you, oh, you're not going to be great. It's really going to be horrible. Or you tell yourself, you know what? It's better to tell the organizer that you're sick, or tell the organizer that you can't make it. It's raining, or whatever that might be. That imposter syndrome message in the back of your head will always come and try to steal away your experience. So as a public speaker, I really, really urge every one of you to not believe that voice, okay? Don't believe that you're not good enough. Don't believe that your message is not clever enough, or not intellectual, or not inspiring, or boring. Whatever that voice is, whatever you show up with, acknowledge that feeling, say thank you to the feeling, and let it go. Because the sooner you realize that every person that is here to listen to you wants you to succeed. I really believe with my whole heart that nobody on this call wants my presentation to be unsuccessful. I believe that every person here wants this presentation to be impactful. Why? Because you're also dedicating your time. And you also dedicating your time to trust me as the speaker. So when you are that public speaker, when you are the person that gets to deliver the message, just know that people want to listen to you, and nobody in this life wants you to have an unsuccessful presentation. You need to build that belief system in you. Nobody else can build that for you. That's up to you. That's also the same for every lecturer that sits on this call, for every academic that sits on this call. Every time that you step up in front of a group of students, know that nobody wants you to be unsuccessful. They want you to inspire them. They want you to deliver something stimulating, that is informative, that is entertaining. Excuse me. I'm sure each and every one of you here are here because you want to learn something and you want to listen to my story. I know it's not a long story about something I work with every day, but even in this presentation about a topic like public speaking, it is up to you to build your personal brand. It is up to you to be motivated and to get up and do something about that. And once you can do that, you will do that in every single speech that you give. I promise you, if you really, really want to be that person, then be it. Don't wait for anybody else. Just get up and do it. It is even as fun as bum sliding down a muddy slide. If that is how you want your presentation to go, with so much fun, so much adrenaline, so much excitement, then get up and do that. Funny enough, this photo was taken while we were building our learning center here in Luk Luk Mangwi. And at the back, you will see there's a stone wall being built. And actually, that's now our temple. And I hope if any of you ever do come out to Open Flow Learning Center, that you will keep this image in your mind and that you will come and see how much it has changed over time. And right at the back, that's me. I'm sliding down this muddy slide, which these two children, the one with the white shirt is Caden made, and alongside his friend Gilang with the red shirt. And that was a day of learning and exploring and expressing. And I remember by the end of the day, I stood up and actually I ripped my pants with about a 10 centimeter cut in it. And Ibu Desi said, Ibu. And she explained to me, and when I turned around, I felt really, really embarrassed. But this photo, I will never forget this moment, right? I know that when you are able to bring this same energy and excitement, nobody would want you to be unsuccessful. Everybody would want you to be a great success in what it is that you're sharing. Even if you have a hole in your pants and you're sliding down a mud slide, people will still want you to be successful, and believe that. Okay, so we're stepping into number 8, and I hope you guys are still okay. And on that note, maybe just in the chat, give me a thumbs up how you're feeling. Is your thumbs up or your thumbs down? Are you still there? Are you still managing? Are you still focusing? Because also as a public speaker, it's important to check in with your audience. Like, check in with your audience. How are you guys going? Okay, so even on the virtual space, when you get a thumbs up, at least you see some movement, because it can be such a removed, remote environment. I really thrive in the in-person environment where I can see people and where I can sense the audience and where I can use all of my senses to understand how everybody is feeling. So in the virtual space, something like a thumbs up is really helpful for me. Okay, great. Now, don't apologize for anything when you are giving a speech. This is really, really crucial, okay? So whenever you get onto stage and perhaps there's a technical difficulty, or perhaps your slide didn't work, or I don't know, something, don't apologize for anything. Let me just take a sip of water here. So I'm not even going to apologize for taking a sip of water on stage. If you need to open up the water and take a sip, do that. That can be a moment where you pause, but don't say to the audience, oh, I'm so sorry. I really wanted to include another slide, but I forgot. Or I'm so sorry. Well, I ran out of time. Don't. That is how it is. Don't apologize for things. Don't take away anything from your presentation by apologizing for it. Accept that life will happen and it will happen the way that it should. Okay? And that's probably something that the audience will never notice until you apologize for it. Okay? If I had to say to you, oh, I really apologize for being a bit nervous today, all of you will think, oh, I can now see that she's nervous. Or if you apologize, I apologize, I really wanted to wear different shoes today. Everybody will be looking at your shoes. So as soon as you apologize for something, it means you're using your time and your words to direct your audience's attention to that point. If you don't want your audience to notice it, don't apologize for it. Just accept it and let it flow. That's really key. So we're stepping into number 9 at the moment. And that says, concentrate on the message. This is probably the most important slide out of all the slides. Concentrate on your message. It's not about you, okay? It's not about the way you look or the way you dressed or the tech stuff that you might be using or maybe the interesting video clip that you've put up. It's all about the message. What is my message here today? Why am I presenting to all of you? What do I want all of you to go away with? Yes, I want you to go away with 10 steps on how to become a better public speaker. But what else? And I just remind you, I'm here to deliver a message on how you can build your skill and explore yourself, okay, to be a better public speaker. So whatever that message is, if it's a climate change message, if it's a message to the faculty on how to be a better English presenter, or if you're presenting a passion project that you've been working on, what is it that you want people to go away with? Okay, what is it in the end that people should say, that was really a good talk. I learned something, or I remember something, or something that really touched me. That's really important. Leave your audience with a message. It's not the medium. It's not how, okay? It's not about having a big PowerPoint or having a lot of photos or a lot of videos or whatever that might be. It's all about the message, not the medium. So as English students, it is very crucial that you are able to apply what you are learning at university when you develop your script or your story. That storyline, that is absolutely important, okay? And then you can decide on how you want to present it. But first, make sure that you have a solid story that you can share with your audience, okay? And get your attention away from your own anxieties. It's not helpful if you're on stage, standing around or moving your body or touching your hair or focusing on who you are on the stage as a nervous person. That's not helpful. That takes away from the message, okay? Have that clear story. Have in your mind that nobody wants you to fail. Everybody wants you to succeed and deliver your message. And instead, focus on getting the message to the audience than distracting the audience with any of your mannerisms. So once the audience is focused, you will see in this photo, you don't know what the audience is looking at, but you can see on one of the educators' faces a massive smile. You can see everybody's eyes locked onto something. They're locked onto a learning journey story about one of the experiences that they had at the learning center. but it's evidence when I look at this audience that they are there. Okay, it's really, really cool. And for the last one, number 10, you probably guessed it. You need to gain experience. Okay, nobody just becomes a good public speaker, and no good public speaker is at their best. There's always room for improvement. There's always a better way to read your audience. There's always a better way to understand something. There's always a different way that you could have paused, or a different way that you could have delivered the message. There's so many things, okay, that you could still work on to become a better public speaker, but it only comes with experience. And if you're gonna wait for somebody to invite you to be a public speaker, you might not gain any experience at all. I'm sorry to say, but that is really true. You have to get up and make it happen. Okay? You need to seek out those opportunities to speak and to practice. And when you look into that mirror and you might still feel, oh, I'm not confident, or maybe somebody shouldn't ask me, look into that mirror and say to yourself, it must be me. Because if it's not me, then who else? If every one of us on this call walk away from this meeting today saying, oh, it has to be someone else, we've missed 217 opportunities to share a very important message with the world out there. We live in Indonesia. There's 17,000 islands. There's a lot of people in your own country waiting to hear your message, not mine. I'm happy to share my message. I'm happy to look into the mirror and say, I really love what I do. But what about all of you on this call? If you feel your hands sweating, if you feel a jiggle in your body, if you feel that feeling right here in your heart saying, I really, really want to, at least try, then do that and find that place where you can do that. Here are two of our educators at the Learning Center who's never, ever done podcasting before. They've never done podcasting before, but here they are taking the opportunity to try. Ibu Pera, next to Ibu Gian with the red shirt, Ibu Pera is wearing a denim shirt in this photo. She actually has a whole podcast session, a whole podcast, what do you call it? Oh, now the word just slipped away. Like a whole podcast space at the Learning Center where she interviews other educators and shares stories. She never done that before, but with support and mindset and the willingness, she tried, and it's really, really, really epic. And if you go to our Learning Center's website, which I'll put in the chat just now, you can find her Bahasa podcast there. You can relate to somebody that is so relatable because she speaks in Bahasa, and there's English podcasts as well. But she got up and she's a public speaker through the medium of podcasting. And this is the really interesting thing. Once you have the confidence and the experience, you have the magic key, okay? All of you have the key here. It's just, what are you going to do with that key? Here I am reading a story in front of a public audience. A lot of the time we have in our minds that public speaking must be on a stage, or we think that public speaking is only to important people and it might be only important messages. Or we might think that public speaking are for certain people and those people normally are asked. But that's not true. My experience to become a public speaker mostly came from reading stories to children. I enjoy reading different types of stories. I enjoy experimenting with my voice, whether I speak louder or whether I speak softer, whether I pause, whether I change my body language. All of these things I use to experiment what the audience does with that. So the smallest thing that you can do is to take those stories that you have on your Instagram or the stories you have on your Facebook or whatever place you might put your daily activities and change them into PowerPoint presentations or change them into some sort of presentation and share that with your friends, not just on social media, but get up, stand up, and speak up. All of you, every single one of you here have amazing stories and you have the data. You now just need to find the right audience to practice and gain experience with. And I really hope that you will take the time to do that, because once you realize not everybody in this world, I'm going to say that again, not everybody in this world has freedom of speech. Not every human being on this planet has the opportunity to speak up. But when you do have that, which each and every one of you do have, it's your responsibility to do something about that. It's your responsibility to use your voice, to build who you are, and to gain experience to speak up. And with that, I really, really want to conclude by saying thank you. It was absolutely amazing sharing this topic with all of you and knowing that out of this whole group of people, there are going to be really amazing stories that will be shared, not only to inspire others, but to motivate others to live their lives to their fullest. The future is in your hands, nobody else's, only in yours. Thank you very, very much.
Well, thank you very much, Ms. Nicolene, Ibu Nicolene, for giving us such informative and interesting presentation. It makes us very, very interesting and also inspiring. It's really outstanding talk. And I believe it's very useful for us as a student in doing our daily life and become more confident to speak up in front of a lot of people and use a public speaking skills. It was really a good talk. And now we come into the question and answer session. So I invite the audience. You can type a question in the chat box, or also you can use the raise hand feature, and don't forget to mention your name. We will limit the question and answer session to about 30 minutes. And there will be 2 sessions, each session with 3 questions. To the audience who will ask question, I invite you to ask. Time is yours. We're still waiting. Several people will ask the question. Because honestly, from me, Ms. Nicolene, that was a really good talk. And from 10 tips that you got, is it come from your experience? So we do hope that there were a lot of active participants. Can I ask about that? We will find out there are 212 people here.
So once again, I just want to mention, you have a platform now. All of you showed up today and nobody's asking you to deliver a speech, right? But you're having a space, a safe space to ask a question. And if you have that feeling inside of you, come on, speak up and ask a question. I think that is one of the most important things that you could take away from this session today, is to find that confidence in yourself. There's no judgment, and let's have a conversation. So I'm looking forward to some questions.
Yes. It was true, Ibu Nicolene. We're looking forward for other people. We're gonna ask some questions. So in a chat box, we have one questions from Dea Maharani. I would like to ask some question why public speaking is very important. It has come from Dea Maharani. So it's your time to answer the question.
So if you have a story to share and you have a story that can change people's lives, what would you do with that story? Where would you put it? Would you keep it for yourself? Or would you actually get up and share that story? I believe that stories come to you and then they become your responsibility. That's why public speaking is important. When a story arrives to you, you are chosen to share that story and you need to share it. So if you're not sure how you will share that, these 10 tips that I shared with you today might be a good start. But public speaking is important because the public needs to hear voices of change, voices of inspiration. Would you rather be told or would you rather share from your perspective? I can only speak from my experience that the most valuable thing for me is to be in a conversation where I can contribute, where I can add. As soon as you open your mouth, you are a public speaker. Thank you for that question.
Thank you, Ibu Nicolene, for answering the question from Dea Maharani. And I hope Dea Maharani will be happy to answer hear the answer from you. And also, I would like to inform for all of the audience, we inform you to open your camera. Please turn on your camera because this is a discussion session. Might be several people who gonna talk. You can unmute yourself by using a raise hand feature, or if it's not possible, you can use also the chat box feature. So here, another question, Ibu Nicolene. We also have the questions using the chat box feature again from Suta. So I want to ask the question how to prevent and overcome about nervousness when we speak in front of a lot of people, exactly in public places. Wow, it is a really interesting question. Time is yours, Ibu Nicolene.
So that's really an awesome question because again, I think your question is probably why nobody is using the mic in this session to speak. Right? So how do you overcome that nervousness or that feeling when all of a sudden you hear your voice on a speaker and you realize, oh my goodness, I don't know that I sound like that. So Suta, first of all, I would like you to unmute yourself and ask me that question.
Yeah. Yes.
Hi, Suta.
I repeat again for the question and I want to ask for you again. Can you hear my voice clearly?
Sure, you can read out the question.
Okay. My question is, I would like to ask some question, how to overcome and prevent about nervousness when we speak in front of people, exactly in public places, because we already know that speaking in front of the public places is very hard, exactly for not, me as for the example, nervousness is not, I still nervous for speaking in front of public. So
how do you feel? What makes you nervous? What is that nervous feeling? Is it in your body? Is it in your mind? Do you feel it in your hands? Where does that nervousness sit with you?
In my feeling.
In your feeling space?
Yeah. Before I speak in front of the public places, just like my hands is, you know that for the nervousness as well for the people. as well. Yeah, so I want to ask you how to prevent as well.
Thank you so much, Suta, for asking that question. And thank you again for actually unmuting yourself, because that's number one. The fact that you step up and try, because you've just asked your question in front of 210 people. That's a lot of people. They were all looking at just you. They were all listening to your voice. Were you able to ask your question?
Right?
You were able to speak, right?
Yeah.
And the more I
speak,
speak to you, the easier it becomes, right?
Yes.
Okay, so that is very, very key. You have this platform, for example, use it. When there is a space for you to try, use it. And you need to practice. Nervousness will never go away. Never. I was laying awake at 2 o'clock this morning thinking, oh, I wonder how the people are going to look like. I wonder what the audience is going to do. I wonder what will happen if I ask somebody a question and they don't respond. I wonder. Nervousness never goes away. But what becomes easier is when you acknowledge it and say, I need to go on. I need to actually be brave enough and try. Because the only thing that you're nervous about is what people might think of you. And like I've said in the talk, if you accept that each and every one here wants you to succeed, then you can at least stand up in front of people knowing that you have the support of your audience. One thing that I can also say, if you are on a Zoom call and you need to move, maybe hold something in your hands. Maybe have a small little rock in your hands just so that you can move your hands under the table and not move your body. Or at least take your attention to, okay, I don't have to be nervous. But if you know your subject well, do you have a hobby, Suta? Do you have something that you're really, really interested in?
My hobby is listening and traveling. Yeah.
You like traveling.
Yeah.
So if we had a conversation about traveling, you would probably speak as if there's no audience.
Yeah.
Right? So find that way that is comfortable for you to speak. And don't think that when you're a public speaker, you need to speak in a different high language, right? It can just be a conversation. If you share your story from your heart, that will already help you to be less nervous. I can promise you that. But thank you for that question. Practice, seize opportunities. The fact that you took this opportunity distinguishes you already from 212 participants. You are different from 212 aspiring participants because you stepped up and you took an opportunity. That makes the difference. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's see some more questions.
Yes, thank you, Sota, for you are really brave. You can speak up, and also you are different with other participants here. So we still have another question here, but also still in a chat box. Might be we can invite also the people who use the chat box feature to turn on the camera and also speak up, talking with you, if it's possible for Belina Putri. This is really long question, and I believe these participants can ask you if it's possible. Belina Putri, can you turn on the camera?
Yes, I already turned on my camera.
Okay, wait a moment. Okay, I see your face. So Belina, here you are with our invited speaker. That's really nice question, but this is your space. You can ask directly to the speaker. Time is yours.
Okay, thank you so much, Ita, for moderator. And hi, Miss Nicolene. It's very nice to meet you here live in Zoom. And yeah, first of all, thank you so much for your amazing explanation before. And I'm Belina, and I'd like to ask you a question. you may do have a lot of experiences in doing public speaking, right? And where you're doing that, you must have experienced some problems, right? And what are the problems that you often face when you do public speaking and how you deal with them? Thank you. That's my question.
Wow, thank you so much. And thank you for putting on your camera and for asking the question, because once again, we're dealing with humans, and that relates directly to your question. So sometimes challenges are on the tech side, where maybe the microphone's not working or the presentation, but those things can normally be sorted out by someone else. Big challenges for me as a speaker are when you arrive to an audience and, for example, you ask them, or it's Q&A time and nobody asks a question. That can be a super big challenge. So imagine standing in front of, in an auditorium, in front of 2,000 people, and the moderator asks, "Are there any questions?" And a big dead silence comes. So those are some of the challenges. Normally they come with people, where people are still dealing with their own insecurities or their own worries, or maybe they're just too scared to ask a question. So for me, like I did now in the virtual space, I really, really try to encourage the audience. I try to find different ways. Because this is also not the first time that I've presented on Zoom. So I know that I can ask somebody by name. I know that I can have the moderator ask for in the chat box. So you need to find different ways to activate people. Okay, or that's for me. I know that I need to find different ways to activate people, because probably your biggest challenge beside the technology side is the people side, right? So I really encourage you, when you watch speakers, when you listen to speakers, when you watch any of the Zoom recordings that you go to or any Zoom meetings, look at the audience. Ask yourself, what would I have done if I was Ibu Nicolene and nobody responded? Or what would I have done if everybody's cameras were off and you can't see anybody's face? You don't know if people are smiling. You don't know if they are enjoying. Something else that's very interesting in Zoom is you can see people leave the room. So even while you're presenting, you can see, for example, there are 230 people. And as you are talking, people are leaving the room or people are joining back the room. So if that makes you nervous, don't look at that. But there are all small things that might be challenges, but it is looking at how can you just deal with it and carry on. It's not life-threatening challenges. That's how I see it most of the time. It's not that I'm going to die or that I'm going to lose my job or that you might not like what I said. That's all irrelevant. So as soon as you see the challenges as something that just is, you can relax and just deal with it and just be at ease with how it is right now. You can't change anything. So what a beautiful question. Thank you for asking that.
Yeah, thank you so much for answering my questions. I think that for your answer is we have to be positive for everything that we face, right? Yes. Thank you so much, Miss Nicolene.
If you think about this morning, when you woke up this morning, did you know what was going to happen today? Did you know everything that was going to happen today?
I don't think so. Maybe no.
Maybe no.
Yeah.
No, you didn't. It means you couldn't have planned for everything, right? And the same thing when you do a presentation. There's no way you can plan for every challenge that comes up. You can only accept it and deal with it. And once you approach your public speaking in that way, you'll be fine. And you'll find the ways to just go through it. So, yeah,
Thank you so much, Ms. Nicolene. Back to moderator.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ibu Nicolene, for answer such interesting question from Belina Putri. So again, we still have some question, but we will limit just 3 questions left. They're gonna choose. There are 4 people question here. There is Bintang, Menu, Rusmi, and also Delvin and Anissa. There are five people anyway. And I invite for those people who ask the question in the chat box, please raise your hand if you can open your microphone and speak up directly to our speaker. I will wait several people who asked already in the chat box. From Bintang, Menuh, Aulia, Rusmi, and Davin, might be some of you. Okay, we have Anissa Aulia here. Raise her hands, and can you please turn on the camera, Anissa? All right, still preparing. Right, Anissa Aulia. So you can ask the question directly to our speaker. Time is yours.
Okay, good morning, Miss Nicolene Dupris. Nice to meet you. First of all, I would like to ask the question. You see, I have a problem with talking too fast when I do public speaking. And then once I did this in high school, when in class, and then I talk too fast. And then in the end, I end up being so unclear, and people would pretend like they understood me. They would just say, oh yeah, like that. But then it made me feel embarrassed in the end. So, like, what would you do if you how do I do to prevent that? Like, what should I do to prevent that stuttering? You know, that's all.
Thank you, Anissa, for asking that question. Strangely enough, that was definitely my number one weakness as a public speaker and growing as a public speaker. And as I've mentioned, when I speak in my home language, I definitely speak very, very fast. So what I've done over the years and through practice, even when I'm in conversations with colleagues or friends, I'm sure that a lot of times you are hanging out with your friends, start practicing to pause and check for clarification. So when you're sharing a story, just start with your friends, pause, count to 3. So if you're telling a story that today I went to the mall and I did this and I did that, and you know, then you carry on again. So you need to have some tips in yourself to slow yourself down. If you have a PowerPoint presentation, maybe put a dot in the corner of a PowerPoint page. And if you see the green dot, it's a reminder to slow down. If you have a good friend in the audience, you can always ask your friend to say, or to just show you by hand that you know that you're going to look at that friend. And when you're going to fast, you can say to your friend, if I'm going fast and I look to you, just show me like this, or this background. Just show with your hand, go slower, or just give a thumbs up if it sounds okay. There are different strategies that you can use to pace yourself. And again, you just need to double check as you're going through your speech. Why would you wait till the end to know if people are understanding, right? There's a lot of stereotypical thinking around public speaking. Again, you might think you have to stand up, present in a certain way, talk for a long time, and then be finished. It's 100% that an audience will miss you, that they will feel like, I don't know what she said. So if your message is clear and the way that you deliver it is clear, and you take time to check in with your audience, you've already brought 3 points to make your message more understandable. Nobody says you can't stop and check in with your audience, right? Even if I'm talking to you, I can say, so Anissa, what are some of the things that you've heard me say that you can do? Is there something from what I said that you could use to talk slower?
Yeah, before you mentioned about when you're in the public speaking and like you said you talk really fast and people end up not understanding. That's what I feel.
Yes, and what are some of the tips that you can use?
Oh, I think I can use the whole breathing and pausing tip.
Okay, so you can use breathing and pausing. Is there somebody
Yes.
else that wants to, let me ask my good friend Suta. Suta, is there something else that you would like to share with Anissa that you would use to talk slower? A tip that you heard me share?
Excuse me, Suta? Suta, can you hear the voice?
Or I can open up to the floor. Is there anybody else that has heard a tip that I gave that can help Anissa to talk slower? Maybe you can raise your hand and the moderator can unmute you.
Anybody else?
So, Anissa, this is a very good example of being a public speaker and having to deal with people, right? So again, we have 212 participants on this call. And probably I must be thinking, did anybody even listen to me? Or we've reached the end of the talk and I must think, did anybody hear the tips? So it is, I can go back and reflect and think, how could I have made that more clear to the audience? Should I have changed my slides a bit? Should I have talked slower? Must I breathe and pause more? So even for you to see what I'm experiencing right now, right? To think that I speak too fast. It's all about re-evaluating what you said, how you said it, who was your audience, okay? And then to just systematically stop and wait. Because even by me asking the question and nobody responding, that gives you a little bit of insight, right? Of maybe it was not that easy for the audience to follow all the tips that I gave. But from me to you, if you can learn to pause, if you can learn to breathe, and if you can learn to talk with a clear message, that will help you to go slower. You need to actively think about that. I need to pause. I need to breathe. Okay? So I hope that can help you.
Yes, thank you, Miss Nicolene.
Thank you. Thank you, Ibu Nicolene, for answering the question from Anissa. And Anissa also, thank you. You are very active today. Because we have a limit of time, just about 10 minutes left in a Q&A session. I think I must choose one of several questions already in the chat box. Maybe one of you for this last session, you can unmute yourself using a raise hand feature because this is the public speaking presentation. We can still practice doing this space, right? So I invite Menuh Astiti. You can raise your hand first and unmute yourself to ask the question directly. Menuh Astiti, can you hear me?
Good evening.
Right.
Am I
It is.
audible? Can you hear my voice?
Yes, you're audible, but can you open your camera?
All right. Please wait.
Yes, you can prepare yourself. Okay.
Good morning, Miss Nicolene. I'm sorry, there's so... Okay, I would like to ask my question. So my question is, what is the most important thing that I should understand if I want to be a good public speaker? Thank you in advance. Can you hear my voice? I'm in the middle of the road and I think that you can hear my voice clearly.
Yes, yes.
I can hear your voice.
Thank you. That's all of my question, Miss Nicolene and moderator. Thank you.
So I just want to double check that I understand the question. You're asking what is the most important thing or the most important concept to be a good public speaker?
I was asking about the most important things that I should understand if I want to be a good public speaker.
Okay, so I'm going to give you 10 tips. Number 1, know your material very well. If you want to be a good public speaker, make sure you understand the content and that you can speak. Number 2, practice, practice, practice. Okay, number 3, know your audience. Know who you are talking to. You will talk differently to your friends than what you would speak to your lecturers. Know who you are talking to. Number 4, know your physical space that you are presenting in, okay? If you're online, understand the online space. If you're presenting in the physical space, understand what it is to be a presenter in the physical space. Number 5, relax. Don't let the nervousness steal your opportunity. Number 6, visualize yourself giving the speech. Okay, these points are important. And then number 7, have the confidence to know that people, your audience, wants you to succeed. Number 8, don't apologize. Don't say, sorry, I'm in the road. Say, I'm in the road and I have a question. Don't apologize for being in the road because now we all know that you're in the road. If you didn't say that you weren't in the road, we wouldn't have known that. Then it's very important to have a strong message. So there's a difference between making a TikTok video, okay, and actually speak about something that is important. And I think especially for you as students, this is a very important point. As soon as you are committing to talk to people, you are taking their time, you are taking their energy, you are taking their thinking. And that means if you take, you need to give something back, which means you really need to think about what your message is going to be. If you have a strong message, if you believe in what you're going to say, 90% of your nervousness will disappear. And then lastly, you need to gain experience. I cannot stress that enough. And the fact that the moderator, who is a perfect example, is modeling to all of you here today what it is to speak up in this forum. And we can really look at the moderator today and say, wow, here is a young individual stepping up, speaking up, and using this online discussion to gain experience. And I applaud you for that. It means you're going away as a moderator with experience of moderating a big group of people. You were able to talk in front of a big group of people, to be clear, to present yourself in a certain way, and you've distinguished yourself through experience. The funny thing is, every single one of you in this room had exactly the same opportunity as the moderator. Everyone in this room had the same opportunity as the moderator. The question is, what did you do with that? So if you really want to become a good public speaker, again, I urge you to look at the 10 tips that I gave you, and I really urge you to use opportunities in front of you. They're there. It's just up to you.
All right. Thank you, Miss Nicole, for your answer. And I really appreciate your answer. And thank you, Miss Nicolene. Thank you for moderator.
Welcome. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Menu Astiti, and also Ibu Nicolene for answering all of the questions from active participants, because we have a limit of time and our Q&A session is end now. So I do hope all of the answer that you've given to all of the participants can benefit them. And also, I do apologize for any people who don't have any space or room to answer some question here, because there is Bintang, Devin, Rusmi, and also Farrell. Maybe we can meet in another or next time with our speaker. Right, ladies and gentlemen, if there are no more information again, I will ask to our speaker, is anything else you would like to say, Ibu Nicolene, before the session ends?
Yes, thank you so much for giving me one last word. In the chat, we've already put down our website, and I urge you to go there. And if you want to connect with us even in person and find out more how you can improve yourself or find some opportunities, connect with us, reach out with us to us. We also have a very interesting podcast space that can help you. So go to the website, see what's happening there, and expand your opportunities and use them. Thank you so much to the moderator for facilitating this beautiful session, and to all the participants, and also to the university for this opportunity. It was truly, truly remarkable to share this time with you. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you very much, Ibu Nicolene. And ladies and gentlemen, we finally come to the last session. Before I close this Studium General, I would like to take the conclusion from the speaker's presentation that learning the public speaking skill is very important. And also a wonderful thing people can sharing. It can improve our life, develop our skills, and in this digital era, people must use these skills, and it can bring numerous benefit for our life. Because communication is a skill that you or we can learn. It's like riding a bicycle, right? Or typing. If you are willing to work at it, you can rapidly improve the quality of every part of your life. And the most interesting part that I quote from Ms. Nicolene is, if you know it, love it, feel it, and just share it. Let's pick and start today. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to say thank you to the speaker for the informative and interesting presentation. And we hope the information that you've given will motivate all of the participants with their concept of public speaking and enhancing their future. Thank you to all of the participants for being very active today. And now we need your time to take a photo session together. So here there are 9 slides anyway. There are 203 participants, and we invite you to turn on your camera, because there are so many people that turn off their camera. I don't know why. But here at the last session, we just want to make a moment. We just want to make a documentation. You can open your camera, because in slide number 4 until 8 here, there's no more people turn on their camera. Okay, I still wait. Okay, let's start from the first slide. All right. Please prepare your good pose. Right. I will count from 1, 2, and 3. All right. Move to the next slide. Again, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, here we have also for the third slide, 1, 2, 3. Move into number 4 slide, but a half of the people in this slide number 4 is just turn off the camera, but we still capture the moment. 1, 2, and 3. All right. Unfortunately, here from the slide number 5 until 8 here, there's nobody open the camera, so we just capture until the slide number 4. Right? That's enough. Okay. Well, thank you for your kind attention, and we do apologize for any inconvenience happened during this event. Finally, please give a round of applause for the speaker and for you all. So don't forget, for every participants, please fill the attendance list and also the questionnaire, because the certificate will be given to the participants that already follow the full Studium General today. So I'm Ita Febri and all of the committee from Student Association of English Department, HMPS Sastra Inggris, signing out, and see you in the next Studium General 2023. Om Santi 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 Om. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Best wishes and have a good day. Thank you.
Terima kasih Bu Nicole.